What's up, my YouTubers? It's Jennifer, and I'm going to come at you today with an emotional video. I say emotional just because I'm going to talk about my daughter, Cora Love, and from the day she was born until now. Her birthday is tomorrow, November 15th. She was supposed to be turning 2. I say supposed to be because she was killed in a pedestrian car accident, and I have those videos posted, not the videos, but the video of me talking about it previously. So I'm going to start from the beginning of her birth up until now. First off, this is kid friendly. Disclaimer, I will go into some details though, not too many details where it's not kid friendly. If any kids who are watching this video, please ask either your parents or an adult who is able to answer your questions about anything that I am talking about. Secondly, thank you to my subscribers for chiming in for this video. Thank you for new subscribers, and thank you for people who are just clicking this video who just want to check out what I'm talking about. So let's dive right into it. Basically, November 15th, 2017, I woke up, took my dogs outside like I always do, went to the bathroom like I always do, still to this day. After I went to the bathroom, I kept feeling trickles, and I was like, okay, well, it's probably because I am towards the end of my pregnancy. And I'm going to do a little backstory on why I kind of didn't know that the trickles were a normal thing. Basically, I was stillborn at exactly 8 months. I think I talked about that in previous videos, but I was exactly 8 months. So once I passed the 8-month mark with this pregnancy, I was kind of ecstatic. I was slightly high risk with my stillborn, and then I was high risk with this one because I had a stillborn. So that's a little backstory. So basically, felt a trickle, didn't think anything of it. And then about 20 to 30 minutes went by, and I kept feeling the trickle. So I was like, okay. So I called my mom or texted her, I can't remember which. I said, hey, I'm going to go to the hospital just to get checked out because I'm not sure if my water's breaking or not. I never had my water break before. I have 2 other kids, a 10-year-old son, a 7-year-old daughter who just turned 7. My son was, I had the epidural. They broke my water, so I didn't really feel anything. I mean, I felt it, but it was a gush. And then my 7-year-old was late, so I was induced, and they had to break my water with her, so I felt a rush. So I didn't know that the trickle meant that my water was breaking. And so I think this is around 8:30 in the morning, and that's very important because you have a certain amount of hours before, from the time that your water breaks to the time that you give birth, to actually have your child. So after that, I called the father and said, I think my water's breaking. We should just go to the hospital and get checked out. He was beyond ecstatic. I mean, he was like emotionally, he was a first-time father, and any first-time fathers or first-time parents, please comment below. Or if you're pregnant now, please comment below on how you're feeling, because he was over the moon. I think he was more scared than anything that was actually happening like now. So, by the way, my due date was supposed to be December 7th. So, if you can imagine. So, basically, I leave the house. First, I packed the diaper bag, and then I put a trash bag down and a towel down on my driver's seat, because just in case. I didn't know that sometimes you can either gush out, sometimes you can trickle. It just depends on your body and everything else. So I thought I was going to gush out. That's why I put the trash bag down. So I went to pick up the father. We went to the hospital. In Wilmington, it is New Hanover Regional Medical. You check into the Betty Ford Women and Children's Center. You go up to the front desk and you say, hey, I think my water's breaking, and they send you upstairs. And then you check into that front desk and you say, hey, I think my water's breaking. So they said, well, okay, we'll get you signed in. We don't have a bed open right now to check you out. Do you mind waiting? I said, no, sure. At this point, still didn't believe anything was going on. Just thought they were going to send me home and everything was going to be fine. So I realized I forgot my purse, sent the father to go get my purse. He does not have a cell phone. So while I was waiting in the lobby area, walking around, going on Facebook, keeping everybody updated, blah, 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 being annoyed, I was flipping out because I was like, oh my God, he's not back yet. What if he got in a car accident? What if my car broke down? I was just going out of my mind. Finally, they get me back in the room, and luckily he comes back. So basically, you go in this little room, and they tell you to change into the gown. The nurse comes in, and they do a little swabby thing, or I don't know. They test your fluids basically to make sure that it's actually amniotic sac fluid, which they came back and it was. So at this point, I was scared. I was excited. I was more angry at the fact that I'm in labor, because I was like, really, I'm in labor, because I really wanted to go back to sleep, to be honest. And I'm laughing about it because, I mean, at this point, it had been 2 hours from the time that my water broke. So, I mean, I was tired. So, he was beyond the moon. I mean, he went out to smoke, and basically, when you're done being checked out, and if you are in active labor, which obviously I was, or at least my water broke, so I was basically on a time limit, time crunch, timer. So they moved me upstairs to the delivery floor, and got in my room and basically sat there being hooked up to all the monitors. Had the IV in my hand just in case anything went wrong. They had to give me, anything, or they had to give me an emergency C-section, hence the arm thing or hand thing, whatever it's called. Anyways, so I'm sitting there, and I'm bored out of my mind. I'm flipping through the TV. He is going out for a gazillion smoke breaks, or doing whatever he's doing. I get up to pee because I had to pee so badly. And I did not know that you were supposed to, for some reason I knew this, but somehow at the time I did not know this, that you are supposed to tell a nurse when you have to get up to go to the bathroom, because I was alone in the room, and I had to go to the bathroom so badly. So got to the bathroom, and then I get yelled at by the nurse because you're supposed to tell them, because if you're in active labor or if your water breaks, they don't want all of a sudden like the baby come out in the toilet or you just slip and fall. They don't want to watch you, but they want to be in the room just in case anything happens. So anyways, after I went to the bathroom, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a nap, because I know once contractions start, I'm going to be in pain. I'm not going to sleep. And I told the nurses already that, I'm still considering the epidural. Don't put it off the table, but I'm going to try to do this as long as I can. I fell asleep, I thought, for like 5 minutes. It was probably not that long. And then I got woken up because I was in severe pain. And I woke up and I'm watching the screen. I mean, my contractions were and I'm trying to breathe through it. I could still kind of talk at this point. So I was like, okay, I could still talk. They're not that strong. The screen does not show you what dilation you're at, obviously. So you just see the contractions. And I mean, you can be at a 12 at a 4 centimeters. And I mean, it just depends on your pain tolerance. So luckily he was there and he was helping me. He put double fist on my lower back. He was doing everything he could to help me through this. It got to the point where I started not to be able to get comfortable or talk. And I was gripping the bed rails so hard that I couldn't press the nurse's button to come in and check me. Because I literally thought I was like at a 4. And that's when the contractions kicked in, because I had not been through this. I mean, I had an epidural with my son, and then I had an induction. So I never really had the full-on contractions. So the nurse comes in and checks me, and they're like, oh, you're at a 9.5. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I was like, I literally just came into this room like 20 minutes ago. Or so it felt 20 minutes ago. So the nurse went away to get all of the entire crew, the infant nurses, the doctor, everything else. And I just remember everybody still getting ready, and I'm like, I have to push like now. So the doctor is still putting on their gown, and the nurse is like, and you can't hold it. Your body is not going to hold the baby. I mean, somebody there, I don't care. I mean, I understand why they're telling you to hold it, because they want a sterile environment, but at that point you can't. So basically, my daughter was born at 3:31 p.m. She was 6 pounds 3 ounces. She was 36 weeks and 6 days. And this is crucial. She was a slight preemie. I know a backstory for this part. She was high risk because not only did I have a stillborn, but because when I would go through all of my ultrasound checkups, they could not see part of her brain. It was somehow the way she was sitting in my uterus. So they told me that she'd have to have an MRI as soon as she was born. And that's another reason why I was terrified that I was in labor, because I thought, oh my God, I just had a stillborn, and now you're telling me that my daughter could have like no brain, or brain damage, or a hole in her brain, or I didn't know what to think. So, and then the stress of the next few weeks could have put me into labor. I don't know. But so she was born. Basically, long story short, she was born, not only, her MRI came out great. Everything looked normal. It was literally just the way she was sitting in my uterus that the ultrasound tech could not get the camera angle perfect. So everything came out great there. She was born with tachypnea, which is where babies breathe really, really fast and then stop breathing. She would do this when she ate, which I guess is frequent in newbies. She did not have to go to the NICU yet. She stayed mostly in the nurse's station just to be on monitors. So while she was in the nurse's station being monitored and bathed, or just to give me a rest, the social worker came in to ask if everything was okay, the hospital social worker. And then I stupidly asked, because I don't have custody of my 7-year-old, so I stupidly asked the hospital social worker, how does this affect me getting custody of my other daughter, who had just turned 5 at this time? And she said, well, I don't know, because I'm just a hospital social worker. Would you like me to call, somebody else? And I said, sure. I don't know why I did this, because I look back saying it was a good thing, but on the other hand, I said it was a bad thing. Because basically the CPS whatever person came in, and apparently she smelled alcohol on the father. So not only did she smell it on him, she saw an empty bottle in my stuff. I did not know this. I had no clue. So basically, long story short, they deemed me as child endangerment. They had to do blood work on me, which obviously came out clean. I mean, that's just stupid. Not to say that doesn't happen. I'm just saying, for me personally, that was just whatever. So basically, CPS, my daughter was 2 days old. CPS told me that they're taking my daughter. And at this point, I'm distraught. And because not only do I not have custody of my other kids, I had a stillborn, and now you're taking my daughter away from me. I mean, I was distraught at 2 days old. She got put in foster care. Luckily, we were blessed with a great foster parent. So basically I had visitations. I can go into all of that later on. Let's fast forward. So she was born, she was in foster care. My mom ended up getting her home. November 7th of this year was 1 year ago today, where the judge told my mom that Cora's coming home with her, because this case was basically crap and just stupid, and that there was no reason that my daughter should have stayed in CPS's custody for that long at all. She should have been placed with my mom months ago. So yeah, so my mom had her, and which was great. We had to wait until she was 2 to close the case. The judge ended up saying, if everything goes right, we'll close the case in 6 months. So this is where it gets really hard, because she's turning 2 tomorrow. And November 7th, or sometime around this time, would have been when the case, if my mom didn't get custody of her, because there's different things. There's adoption, custody, and guardianship. If my mom did not get custody of her at 6 months, we would have waited until around now. Either way, my mom would have had her, and then I could have moved back home, etc., etc. But unfortunately, she was killed in a pedestrian car accident on March 22nd, 2019. I know I don't look or sound that emotional right now, just because I'm trying not to break down, and I'm trying to share the story. It is hard. I don't know how. I get, you know what it is? I've cried so much in the past 2 weeks. Leading up into my birthday, my 7-year-old's birthday, because she just turned 7 on the 9th, until now. I've cried so much. I think I'm honestly just completely cried out. and emotionally drained. And I woke up today, had some coffee, and just said, you know what, I'm going to grieve. It's not like I'm never not going to grieve. It's just I'm not going to be terribly, like, out of my mind upset. Basically, I'm going to share my story and say, okay, it's hard, because she would have been too. So I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it's crazy how far I've come since the day she was born until now, surviving her car accident until now. And I know coming up this March, it's going to be really hard. So that's right now where I'm at. I know I just did a mental health check-in. I'm doing a birthday tribute, so happy birthday, Cora. I know you're up there with your sister, and you know, keep you guys, you know, your sister, so take care of each other. Oh my god, that makes me want to tear up though. But okay, so I'm gonna wrap up this video. I'm gonna leave links below of the accident that I have the links of, and I'm also gonna leave links of tachypnea, what happens between the moment your water breaks versus why it takes, why you're on a time limit, to the suicide prevention, to a great, awesome website I found, or one of them, which is a pregnancy and infant loss site. And the reason why I put the suicide thing in there, because there was a time where I went to the Oaks, obviously, which is the hospital, the mental institution. And it's not to say that I won't again. It's just, I wasn't suicidal. I just needed the help. I needed the help. So anyways, for those of you who are stuck with me to the end, thank you so much. Love my subscribers, love my newbies, love everybody who's just chiming in. Again, everybody deals with grief differently. This is probably me being in shock, still sharing my story. So don't judge me on me not being, crying my eyes out making this video, or talking too fast, etc., etc. This is just probably how I'm dealing with the grief right at this moment. So thank you guys, and you guys stay awesome, and I will catch you next time on my next video. Bye.